presidential candidates. We've talked to all kinds of folks, but when you get to the Duck Commander family,
this serious business.
You're to the first family.
That's right. Well, we got there's a new book out that is on the shelves in the bookstores now called The Duck Commander Family: How Faith, Family, and Ducks Built a Dynasty. And we invited Willie and Korie Robertson to be on our program. Corey's on. Willie may or may not make it. He's got tied up probably by Uncle Si. I don't know. But Corey's with us. Good morning, Korie.
Hi there. How are y'all?
Doing wonderful. This is Tim with Jim on American Family Radio. We appreciate you being on with us. You in West Monroe today?
I am. I'm in West Monroe, and I hate that Willie can't be here. I promise you, he likes to talk. So he's sad that he's missing it too. We have hit the ground running. We just now started filming again on Monday, and he is filming today, and we've got a film crew here that's filming promos for Season 3, so that's good news. We've got Season 3 coming up, and another film crew here today because we're working on a little special thing for the state of Louisiana. So it's kind of crazy down here right now. But
well, we appreciate you taking time out of the midst of all that then to join us in spite of everything.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
The book is available now, right, everywhere?
It is. It's available everywhere. You can get it any of your major bookstores or on our website, duckcommander.com.
The Duck Commander Family is the title of the book. I'm just curious. I know the history of the business a little bit. It's your father-in-law, who Willie's dad,
right? Phil,
who started the Duck Commander, started making duck calls, right?
Yes.
What is that, 30, 40 years ago? How long was that?
40 years ago, he did. He actually, he played football in college and got a master's degree, if you can believe that, by looking at him. I think that surprises some people in English, and taught school for a little while. And then his life kind of got off track and ended up leasing a bar and not living right at all. And but the whole time he had a love for duck hunting. Even back whenever his college football days, they tell stories when he was the quarterback, and if a flock of ducks flew over, he got distracted in the huddle looking up to the ducks. So,
one thing that Tim will find interesting here, Korie, tell him who Phil was first quarterback over.
Yeah, Phil actually was first-string quarterback over Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw played behind him, and Terry even says in one of his books that if Phil had not quit football, Phil quit his senior year. Had he not quit, Terry might not have had a chance to play. So that was pretty interesting. And we, Phil and Terry had not seen each other for years. We were in L.A. actually not too long ago. Phil and Willie were on the Jay Leno show. Flew into LAX, got off the plane, and Terry Bradshaw comes running up and just grabbed Phil from behind. So that was really fun to stand there and kind of listen to those old stories from those two men, and it was kind of interesting to hear Terry tell about Phil used to take him fishing, but he put a sack over his head so Terry wouldn't know where the fishing hole was.
We're talking to Korie Robertson from the Duck Commander, the Duck Dynasty program.
Right.
Let me give the phone number because I know there are a lot of fans out there who watch the show and want to talk to you, Korie. You can stay with us till the top of the hour, right?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Here's the phone.
Go ahead.
Here's the phone number to call us, to be on the program, to ask Korie Robertson a question, make a comment, talk about the show, Duck Dynasty, if you'd like to. The phone number is 888-589-8840. Toll free, 888-589-8840 if you want to ask Korie a question or make a comment. Season number 3 being taped now.
It's being taped. She said they hit the ground running Monday. So
how does that work? How does that work? How do they come and tape shows, and how do you come up with things to do?
It's a little different than, some people ask us, oh my goodness, what's it like having cameras in your faces all the time? And it's not really like that. We do know when we're filming, like today, I happen to be not filming today. Willie and all the guys have interviews all day, and so the wives are off, and we're free to do whatever we normally do, which is, we run a business as well. So that's the difficult part, is trying to figure out how to run a business and film a TV show about running your business. And but it is planned. We kind of all just brainstorm ideas, things that have happened to us in the past that were funny, things that we think might be funny or whatever. We kind of just sit around and tell stories, and then that becomes, what the show is.
Now, Korie, you and your family as well were instrumental in helping Duck Commander. In fact, your dad owned duckcommander.com, the website, for a while. And then the first step toward you and Willie taking the business to the next level was to buy that back from him. But you and Willie are also co-owners of Duck Commander now, aren't you?
Yes, we are. We are. Willie came back, actually right out of college. Willie went to work for a Christian camp, the camp that Willie and I met at, and my family had started. And, he kind of reached a point, he was about 30 years old, and he decided it was time to go back to the family business, and went and talked to his dad, and his dad said, come on, let's do it. And I think it was really a point in Willie's life and in Phil and Kay's life when they were kind of tired of it. They'd been doing it for a long time and were a little battle weary because, running a small business, family business is difficult. And Willie
and when you say running a family business, you mean they were doing everything out of their house, and Kay was even cooking lunch for everyone every day.
Yes, exactly. It was all right there. I said, Kay and Phil ran Duck Commander off of that recliner and on the end of that couch that you see on the show. That is where it was run, literally. There was a little basket with the bills and everything right there beside that on that couch. And, yes, it was all run out there. As growing up, the boys did, they were the workforce. They dipped the duck calls, and Willie will tell stories about his hands being stained with the tongue oil from dipping the duck calls. He was embarrassed at school because he always had brown stained fingers. But they worked really hard to grow that business. And, none of it was done the conventional way of, you have an office and you have a warehouse, you have a staff. It was just really out of their house. And like you said, Kay cooked lunch for the employees every single day. Around the dinner table.
Yeah, talking to Korie Robertson from West Monroe, Louisiana, and the book she and her husband Willie have written is called The Duck Commander Family, How Faith, Family, and Ducks Built a Dynasty. We've got a bank full of phone calls here already. People want to talk to Korie. The program, if you haven't seen it, it's called Duck Dynasty, and it's on A&E. What nights? It's on Wednesday night, right?
It's on Wednesday nights, yes. They're doing reruns right now while we film a few more episodes, and I believe it's supposed to start back in March.
Yeah, I've got it taped. I tape it every week. I've already programmed it, so I know that. One question I have, then we'll go to. I promise, folks, hold on. We'll go to our calls. We'll get to you as quick as. I have a question though. You mentioned in the book, Phil, the dad here who started the company, and we know that Willie and took it to the next level in terms of the business operation. But Phil was off the road. He preaches now.
Yeah,
and he was living away from the Lord. And what happened there?
Yes, he was. It reached a point to where it was just he was just drinking a lot and really not living right. And I mean, Kay will tell you, she says he was the devil during that time. It was a tough life, and there's a real testament to Kay for forgiveness and keeping a family together. But there was a point when he said, I don't want anything to do with you. And Kay left, and she came. That's when she came actually to close to here to West Monroe. But she started working for my family, which is a crazy coincidence. But Phil showed up about 3 or 4 months later at her work, and she says he was slumped over in the truck in the parking lot, and she thought, oh no, he's drunk again. And she walked outside, and he had tears in his eyes and said, I want my family back together. And it was a major answer to prayers, and lots of people had prayed for that moment, and it happened, and he turned his life around. And it's really, people say, is Phil really like he is you see on TV? And he really is. He's really a man to be respected and looked up to, a godly man that
I like the dry wit. That's what I like about his comments on the show.
Here's what.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jim.
When we watch some of the show, Phil will say, "Well, I didn't mean for that to be funny."
Right, yeah, and it just worked out.
Yeah.
Here's what Willie had to say in the book about Kay. He says, if Kay...
This is Phil talking about Kay?
No, this is Willie talking about Kay.
Willie talking about his mother.
Mm-hmm. And he says, if Kay hadn't been strong enough to forgive Phil for the way he acted when I was young, being Willie, our family and consequently Duck Commander wouldn't be here today. Thankfully, Kay's heart was big enough to look past Phil's transgressions and remember the man she married. After Phil kicked us out of the house, Kay made a thorough examination of her life, surrendered herself to Jesus Christ. She knew forgiving Phil was the right thing to do for her sons. If she wouldn't have forgiven Phil for the things he'd done, or if he hadn't made changes in his life, we wouldn't be here today. As Phil began his Christian walk, he realized Kay was the best thing that had ever happened to him, and they've been happily married ever since. And in their home, I'm breaking away from the quote now, in their home they have a sign that says ongoing honeymoon or honeymoon in progress.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the truth.
Willie and Korie Robertson, author of the book The Duck Commander Family, and Korie is with us from West Monroe today on the program. We go first to Clay in Hickory, North Carolina.